and keep them there. We want downtown to reflect our identity and our culture, but also feel vibrant, welcoming, and open for business. Our next goal is about partnerships. We want to continue to strengthen our collaboration with GBEC, the city, local nonprofits, our education institutes, and our private sector. That includes things like joint roundtables, shared incentive planning, and creating an annual economic development summit. We're also continuing to support the Frontier Leadership Program that we do at eBridge, which connects students and emerging professionals with mentorship and career pathways in highway industries. It's been a great way to help build the next generation of leaders right here at home. And lastly, it's about us, our organization, making sure that as BCIC, we're more efficient and running efficiently as possible. We're adopting better tools like our CRM systems and project management software to streamline how we work. We're also building a disaster recovery and continuity plan that matters what comes our way, that we're ready to serve Brownsville. And so in short, this plan helps us stay focused, stay aligned with the city, and keep delivering results. It's measurable, collaborative, and built to make the most of the tools we have. We appreciate the partnership and the trust you place in us. We're looking forward to working alongside you for the next 4 years to bring these goals to life. So together we can build a stronger Brownsville. And we'll be our publishing here tomorrow. So we're doing a press release on our strategic plan. So I'll be sending it to the city secretary so she can share it with y'all. So I'm open for any questions you might have.
I do have one comment on the 50%. I know it specifically says underserved areas, but as per our ordinance, it says that 50% can be used for projects that are in our CIP or Parks, Health, and Rec Master Plan. So I just want to make sure that is identified or understood.
Yeah, it is understood. We also, if it could be nudged, so if there's a priority in your CIP of underserved, that puts as a priority for both your organization and ours.
I think these are all great pillars. The only thing that I would ask for is the continued collaboration, but also alignment, because I know that we have our own pillars as well. And so some of these pillars do not align with the cities. And so that I would like that to ensure that we have the same goals, of course, with the restrictions of where funding can be allocated to. I do appreciate you. I am looking forward to the quality of life grants that you guys have approved. It really did make a difference within the community on the first round. And I mean, the Moody Clinic one was something that really impacted me, taking a tour of the facility and seeing the need of physical therapy and occupational therapy with children with disabilities whose parents cannot afford therapy. And so to see that 70 children were waitlisted because they could not have the accessibility through therapy because of lack of funding, to me, it's just a disservice. And it was really sad to see that as a mother of a 5-year-old and 3-year-old. I mean, I would do anything for my kids. So to see that, I was very sad. But then BCIC came in and you funded, your quality of life grant funded to expand the services. And now those 70 children are no longer waitlisted. And that's the impact that we want to ensure that we continue in our community through BCIC. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you so much. We totally agree with you on that. I mean, Moody Clinic, it does deserve to have a spotlight on itself, because not only the service it provides in our community, but overall in the Valley, because it's the only type of clinic here in the Valley. And so we need to make sure, it's been around for, I don't want to about more than 50 years. I know it's been longer than that. But, their facilities did need to be upgraded. And then they wanted, besides the upgrades, they wanted to expand their employees so they can service, those are in line. So we are happy to step up and help.
Thank you so much. If there's any area or opportunity for a revitalization grant across the districts for the Bright Initiative, I would appreciate that. And also District 2 is the only district without a trail that was created by the city. So we do have Paseo de la Resaca trail system, but that is behind a neighborhood where the Bronzo Event Center is at. It's kind of hard to access if you're not a part of the neighborhoods that are around there. But if we could have something between, this is something that we talked to the grant department as well. But I mean, if there's any opportunity for us to collaborate to close that gap, that would be amazing.
Yeah, and we have been in talks with Brownsville PUB because they do have two properties that I believe are in your district. So we've been talking to them about how we can do enhancements and also further the creation.
Well, thank you so much to BPUB and to BCIC.
Corey, I just, I want to thank you. I know it's challenging to come up with a budget, especially with a restriction of 50%. And so I think that I echo the sentiments of the mayor and Commissioner Macias for us to work as one city with GBIC. I know that Brownsville's growing, and in that growth, we're welcoming that kind of growth that's coming from the outside. We have a lot of people, a lot of eyes on Brownsville, people wanting to move to Brownsville, open up a business. But some of the most important things in growth too is taking care of our people.
Yeah.
And it's in taking care of the gentrification, it's in taking care of small business development. I think that that eBridge and what you guys do for innovation, small business development, small business creation is crucial to the continued growth of Brownsville. As we welcome big business, we have to take care of small business. And so
They're our hearts.
I do know that that's a challenge. And I don't envy the position of trying to come up with that, but I'm a big believer also in quality of life. So if we could just grow the pot somehow,
They go hand in hand.
just know that you have our support and you have my support.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, congratulations on this strategic plan here. I think one thing to keep in mind really is how do you define success to the community, right? Some of these things are hard to measure.
Yeah, the
but I think
KPIs.
being able to articulate that to the public, I think is important. I know you guys do a great job when you talk about, the big grant and the ROI, right? We invest in these programs and it generates X amount in return, right? Those are great things to communicate to the public on why that grant was important.
Why we do what we do.
What we do, right?
Yeah.
And I think each of these goals has to have something like that, right?
Yes.
So we can articulate it very clearly.
Yeah,
on-
the plan is, every year we'll look at, during our budget, we'll look at what, what outcomes we want for that year and create KPIs based on our budget and what our programming is supposed to be about.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey.
All I would like to say is thank you to GBIC and BCAC. They've always been there when we've needed them the most. GBIC has, we've worked with them to be able to have 55 acres for our public safety complex. And that is so important for our community. And, BCAC helped us fund the Parks Health and Rec Master Plan and also the Downtown Renaissance Master Plan that just kicked off on Friday. So that is absolutely one city in action. Thank you.
Presentations, item number 1 is the LGBTQ+ Task Force Annual Update.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Tonight, I have the pleasure of introducing to you the Chair of the LGBTQ Task Force, Cesar Villarreal. He's going to go over the presentation on an annual update for the task force, the great work that they've done in our community, including with the Human Rights Campaign on the MEI score, which is the Municipal Equality Index. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Okay, there we go. Hi, good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. We want to thank you for giving us an opportunity and a platform for expressing ourselves and feeling safe in our city. So our purpose is to explore strategies for improving awareness, advocacy, policy, inclusivity, and cultural competency on issues impacting LGBTQ+ people in the city of Brownsville. Public meetings take place on the third Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. unless otherwise posted. Our current task force members include Esther Siller and Leslie Leija, Linda Tolman and Lilia Ortiz. They couldn't be here at the moment, but they're always showing support to us. Defining MEI, Municipal Equity Index. The Municipal Equality Index examines how inclusive municipal policies and services are of LGBTQ+ people who live and work there. Rated based on non-discrimination laws, the municipality as an employer, municipal services, law enforcement, and leadership on LGBTQ+. Okay, there we go. So our MEI score of the year 2023, we were at 46 points. But thanks to the help of the city and the mayor and the commissioners, we were able to go up 29 points to 75 on the year 2024. We ask of the city to help us out with the law enforcement so we can have more communication with them in order for the MEI score to grow up a little bit more for this following year. We also thank our Commissioner Martinez for being there in our support because him being able to be a part of the commissioners is a great way to show the Human Rights Campaign that the city of Brownsville shows support to our community. So we do work with other organizations and community partnerships such as Casa Orgullo, STEP, which is South Texas Equality Project, Casa Kimberly, VAC, which is Valley AIDS Council, Planned Parenthood, the Revival of Cultural Arts, ROCA, Mount Calvary Christian Church, United Church of Christ, Carlota K. Petrina, Texas Rising, Texas Rio Grande Legal Fund, Color Splash Out, and Organization Latina Trans in Texas. The years 2024, 2025, our task force events, carving space for Trans Day of Visibility, annual Pride exhibit, our annual Pride at the Farmers Market, Gender Euphoria Beauty Workshop, monthly Chicas Happy Hour, annual Pride flag raising, our annual Pride pub crawl, which we're so thankful to the downtown area of Brownsville. All the businesses in downtown Brownsville help us out to create a more safe space and for the LGBTQ community to feel right at home in our own town. And our annual Christmas Posada. Task force partnerships, Pride at the Park with the Friendship of Women, Planned Parenthood event with Sandra Cisneros, participation with ROCA events, Trick or Treat with the Sheriff's Department, monthly Chicas Happy Hour night, Chavo Gay Loteria with Planned Parenthood, Queen of the Borderlands with various organizations that we also mentioned already, and the Kimberly Avila Food Distribution, which happens here in downtown Brownsville, and Color Splash, which is a youth camp that's originated in Dallas, Texas, but we brought it down to Brownsville to help out the youth and the LGBTQ community, to show them support that it's okay to be in your own skin and live in your own city. The work in progress that we have is our bylaws. And it's in the, yeah, and that's it. Hope we, continue working with the city of Brownsville, with the commissioners and with the mayor. We're so proud, and it's amazing the work that we've been doing all these years, because it's important for everyone to feel safe in their city. Muchísimas gracias. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to feel safe. And as we always say, Brownsville, one city. It's one city, one person, one population. So thank you so much. Any questions?
I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything. I mean, I see you volunteer for as many nonprofit organizations. I see you guys out there. I mean, you could be at home relaxing in the AC, but you're outside in the heat and you're helping. And that's what makes a difference. A lot of us think that maybe we had so much money or if we were this or that or a title or none of those things matter. What matters is your actions on a daily basis and you demonstrate that with kindness and grace. And I feel that that is what's going to make the city better is when we have more humanity and we move forward and asking, what can we do to help? So thank you so much. I appreciate you and all your efforts.
That's absolutely right. Commissioner Macias, I want to just echo on that and say, you know, the work that you all were tasked to do is no easy job. Back in 2019 was this was first created. It was created to have a city where we would, you know, increase our quality of life, eliminate the hatred, eliminate, you know, those places or times that people felt underrepresented or not protected. So we have now our fair practices ordinance that the task force really led, and that really helps protect all of our citizens from those who have special needs to those who are expecting to the LGBT community. This is what this group was tasked for. So thank you all for your continued work and yeah, congratulations.
Yes, we want to end up by saying, we work for everyone. Sorry. We work for everyone. We try to make everyone feel safe in the city of Brownsville. Like Commissioner Martinez say, we don't only work for the needs of the LGBTQ community, we work for the needs of everyone because diversity is very important. And I feel Brownsville is such a diverse city that we're honored to, you know, be here with you guys. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Consent agenda items?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Public hearing portion of the agenda. Item number 1 is a public hearing to receive comments on the Texas Department of Transportation's FM 3248 Alton Glore project.
Yes, Mayor, City Commissioners, good afternoon. We have here the Texas Department of Transportation having their public hearing on their proposed Alton Glore Raise Median project. And so we have representatives from TxDOT here to speak.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. My name is David Van Gorder. I'm a part of the consultant team working on the FM 3248 from I-69E to FM 1847 in your city. Thank you for allowing me to speak. But before I speak on the project, I have an important message to share on behalf of TxDOT. November 7th, 2000 was the last deathless day on roadways in Texas. That means for over 2 decades, at least one person has died every single day. We have a part to play to change that. This message is that reminder to end the streak of deaths on Texas highways. We need drivers and passengers to act more responsibly and help us reach our goal of 0 deaths by 2050. Texans can play a major role in ending fatal crashes with a few simple driving habits: wearing seatbelts, driving the speed limit, putting away the phone and other distractions, and never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So please do your part and share this message with your friends and family. TxDOT is proposing improvements for the section of FM 3248 between I-69E and FM 1847 in Cameron County to improve mobility and safety. Total project length is approximately 2.1 miles. The Brownsville Historic Battlefield Hike and Bike Trail intersects this project area just under a quarter mile from the eastern project limit, which is actually the focus of this hearing. A public meeting was held for the overall project in February 2024, and public comments were received during that meeting and were considered and incorporated into the project design. The public meeting summary and responses to comments can be found on the TxDOT website. The engineering design and environmental studies for the proposed project area are nearing completion, and the project is expected to obtain environmental clearance this fall. So why are we here telling you about this? The proposed design is subject to Chapter 26 of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Code and Section 4F of the Department of Transportation Act of 1966 due to the proposed right-of-way takings from a designated public property, which is the Brownsville Historic Battlefield Hike and Bike Trail, a public recreational trail. The purpose of this hearing is to allow the public the opportunity to review the proposed project in relation to the trail and provide comments. And the city of Brownsville is the affected property owner. The trail would be realigned to continue its current function and cross the proposed wider roadway. The realignment of the trail property would not affect the features, attributes, or activities qualifying the trail for protection under Section 4F, and therefore intends to make a de minimis impact determination under 23 CFR 7743B. Analysis of impacts under Chapter 26 and Section 4F is conducted as part of the environmental process, which is subject to the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. TxDOT is acting as the lead federal agency for the project under NEPA on behalf of the Federal Highway Administration for a memorandum of agreement dated July 17th, 2025, and executed by FHWA and TxDOT. So what are the potential trail impacts? The photo at the top of this slide shows the area of the trail and the associated parking lot that would be impacted. And the exhibit at the bottom shows the proposed roadway in relation to the trail. The proposed right-of-way would include approximately 22 feet of the trail and 2 parking spaces, including the handicap space. To minimize these impacts, the proposed project would realign the trail and connect it to the proposed shared use path to maintain the functionality of the trail. This includes retaining a crosswalk across FM 3248. The project team is also proposing to replace the impacted parking spaces with 2 new spaces at the other end of the parking lot, one of which would include the ADA compliant spacing and a ramp. This exhibit and the proposed schematic are available for further review on the TxDOT website using the keyword search shown on the slide, and has been provided to the city of Brownsville, which owns the trail and the parking lot. As discussed earlier, the environmental studies for the proposed project are close to completion, and the environmental clearance is anticipated this fall. From there, the detailed engineering design will be completed, and the proposed project is anticipated to be ready for construction in early 2029. Comments can be submitted in the following methods: filling out a comment card at this hearing, submitting your comment card online by visiting www.texdot.gov and searching FM 3248, emailing your comment to Jorge Espinosa at texdot.gov, or by mailing your comments to the TxDOT FAR District at the address shown on the slide. While comments are always welcome, they must be received or postmarked by Wednesday, August 20th, 2025 to be included in the official hearing documentation. Responses to hearing comments received during the comment period will be included in the public hearing summary report that will be posted on the TxDOT website when completed. All information regarding the project can be found on the project webpage and can be accessed by going to the texdot.gov and entering the keyword search. If you have any further comments, questions, or concerns regarding the project, please contact the TxDOT project manager, Isaac Garza, or Roger Gonzalez or Yuki Williams from Intech, who are the leading engineers consulting for the project. We are also available after this presentation to answer any questions you may have about the project. You can follow the directional signs around the corner on this floor to review the schematics for the entire project, and we look forward to any questions or concerns.
I just want to make sure that I heard correctly. The parking lot that would be affected, it's owned by the city?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to address the item on this issue, please step forward.
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
For the-
Public hearing, item number 2, I do want to make a record that, that Commissioner Galunski has filed a conflict of interest form. So she'll be stepping away for a little bit, and then she'll reconvene back to the dais. Public hearing, item number 2 is a public hearing and action on the first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-011, rezone from the residential single-family R1 to the residential suburb R2 to allow a duplex development for lot 17 through 32, inclusive Block 5, Florida Estates subdivision, Section 2, Cameron County, Texas, located at 1273 Titusville Street, thank you, Brownsville, Texas, 78521, as shown in Exhibit A in District 1.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. So this request is to rezone from a residential single-family zoning designation to residential suburban to accommodate a duplex development. This property is fronting on Titusville Street, and this is a new, well, actually, Section 2 of a mixed development subdivision. It consists of single-family homes and duplexes. This is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 31 mailouts and 0 written opposition. And this is a zoning map, and as you can see, what predominates in the area is residential single family. However, there's already a row existing in Section 1 that's zoned for duplex development. What the developer is trying to do is just mirror on this new section 16 lots for duplex development. And so this request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and future land use plan. Both staff and P&Z recommended approval. Any questions?
Any questions or comments? All right, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
What staff is calling her? There she is. As she enters back into the chambers, public hearing item number 3 is a public hearing and action on first reading on ordinance number 235-2025-012 to rezone from the traditional neighborhood TN to the traditional neighborhood corridor TNC to allow a fourplex for lot 20, Block 3, Lincoln Park subdivision, Cameron County, Texas, located at 2024 East 20th Street, Brownsville, Texas, 78521, as shown in Exhibit A in District 1.
So this request is to upzone from traditional neighborhood zoning to traditional neighborhood corridor. And also the purpose is to increase the density that's permitted on the property to be able to accommodate a fourplex on a 50 by 120 or a 6,000 square foot lot, measuring roughly 50 by 120 feet. The property is fronting East 20th Street. And as you can see from this map, it is a 200-foot buffer map. There were 24 mailouts and 0 written opposition. But the type of development that predominates within the area is single family. Everything within this subdivision is established as a single family home. From the zoning map, you can see that the predominating zoning within the area is traditional neighborhood. There is to the northwest traditional neighborhood corridor on a very small corner, and residential transition to the southeast. However, at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, staff did point out to the commission that because of spot zoning, because of the nature of the development that exists already within the subdivision, which is primarily single family, because of the size of the lot, and because it's a very high density that is being introduced into the property, it would be difficult with the current residential adjacency parameters to fit a structure of this size or density in a property or a parcel that is so small. At the P and Z meeting, staff did recommend denial. However, P and Z moved forward and recommended approval. Questions?
Martin, someone recently told me that in the city now we can do like smaller houses within the lot as long as it's in the back of the lot. Is that the case?
That's always been the case, actually. A single-family home has a right to have an ADU, an alternative dwelling unit, to the rear, which is basically translates, it's defined as a guest house. However, that ADU does have a limitation. All ADUs must not exceed 50% of the area of the primary structure. So if the primary residential home is 1,000 square feet, the ADU cannot exceed 500 square feet. And the height cannot exceed that of this primary structure. So it is permitted, however, there are limitations.
So, and if, in this case, if they wanted to do, say, a duplex where it's more like the second story is a separate dwelling from the bottom floor, could that happen? Would they still have to apply? Yeah, they would still have to apply for rezoning. Okay.
I guess there's also a question of, is there enough parking to accommodate that many homes or units on a lot? And so I don't know if they can meet their parking standards. If you were to, I don't know if it would be even possible to build out 4 units on this lot.
Correct, and that's what was pointed out at the meeting, and when the developers first decided to reach out to the department, is the size of the property. And just keeping in mind limitations regarding landscaping, regarding parking, and also, well, the accommodating the structure within the property and complying with the setbacks that are established by the residential adjacency requirements.
And there's no duplexes in that neighborhood, right? Because that is single.
Excuse-
There's no other duplexes in that neighborhood, correct?
No, not that we saw.
Any other questions or comments?
Martin, was that the only reason why staff recommended denial for the space?
Yes, well, again, because of the spot zoning, because of the size, the nature, or the already established development, which is single family, and just the fact that now a multifamily structure is going to be placed in the middle of a single family subdivision.
Thank you.
All right, this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward and state your name.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. If I may, we did a presentation, a small one.
Can you state your name, please?
My name is Antonio Menchaca, and I am with Loma Alta Construction,
Thank you.
and I hope to be the developer on this small little project. I have a small presentation that I'd like to show you, and I think would address and answer all the concerns that Commissioner Galansky had and our city manager in regards to parking. If I may pass it around real quick so you can see it. Thank you. So I'm going to tell you a little history about this property in the meantime. This property has been abandoned for over 20 years. And we reached out to the neighbors around the community, and the neighbors were really happy that we were trying to do something. In the last meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission, not only was there zero written opposition, but there was actually support from the neighbors, and Mr. Martin can attest to that. So if you go to the last pages of my small presentation, you can see the condition of the property. It is currently in severe deteriorated condition. It's been abandoned, like I said. It owes about 23 years of property taxes, and it owes municipal liens of about 7 years as well. We intend to pay all this as part of the agreement with the former owner. And if you can see pictures on page 3, it is also has a public nuisance stamp or posting from the city municipal department. And so what we're trying to do is bring this property back to life. Obviously demolish this structure because it's beyond repair. And if you can see on pages 1 and 2, here's the proposed site plan. Of course, we intend to comply with all other, city planning requirements, but we can fit this structure in this slot, the way it's proposed. That's our intent. I want to say that we're only asking to go from TN to TNC. Right now, by right, we could do a duplex because that zoning allows for it. We're just asking for 2 more units because the feasibility on this, based on the taxes and the municipal liens owed for this single-family lot, is just, it doesn't work for us as developers from the financial standpoint. And so if the commission has any questions for me as far as what we plan to do there, like I said, I'd like to testify to the fact that the neighbors came out last time during the planning and zoning, and this is why the planning and zoning advisory board motioned to approve this development.
Just to confirm, you said there was 23 years of taxes owed?
23 years of unpaid taxes, yes, sir. We were already given a down payment as part of our deal with the former owners or the owners.
Why wasn't it foreclosed on?
We stepped in before it got foreclosed on. The site plan is to spec, in other words, the dimensions are right there, and you can see how we're trying to see if we can get parking from the rear, like you had mentioned, and also in the front to accommodate for these units. Now, these units are not going to be a 2-bedroom units. It's one, we're proposing 4 single-bedroom units for a small, maybe a couple or an individual.
Has city staff seen this?
In the last revision, in the last meeting, Mayor, we showed this to staff and to the board. Right, because
I'm interested to see if it meets the setback requirements and all the things that it would need to meet.
when we did our site plan, we took into consideration the proposed zoning requirements. Again, even if this board approves it today, we still have to jump through those hurdles, but this is the first step. And then we still have to go through the whole planning review. And that's when building comes in and gives us their more stricter requirements. Just because, again, this we get approved today for zoning doesn't mean we're gonna be able to comply with fire and traffic and all those. This is not our first rodeo. I'm trying to get this done, but because of the amount of taxes that are due. I mean, this thing already goes over $76,000 for just a single family lot.
I did want to ask you, Martin, has staff gone out there to go measure the lot and see if this is something that's feasible?
Correct.
No, we have not. We typically staff does not do site visits for zoning cases. We go based off of what's recorded or recording instruments like subdivisions. When we reviewed the subdivision that was on record, it says that it's a 50 by 120-foot lot. And based on this site plan or distribution that's being proposed, it doesn't meet residential adjacency requirements. If you recall, around the month of May, there was a text amendment that was passed by commission reducing the residential adjacency requirements from 40 to 15 feet. Now, in this case, because we have single-family homes on either side, 15 feet still apply. So, yes, these requirements were relaxed. However, if we put 15 feet plus 15 feet on either side, that's a reduction of 30 feet of buildable space. So we have to take that into consideration.
So looking at this and having the knowledge that you have, what would be something that would be approved by staff? Like, would it be one duplex or not
Well,
having, like, what?
As Mr. Menchaca mentioned, the zoning allows a duplex by right. A duplex is allowed by right under the zoning designation, and a duplex, because it's considered a residential type of development, it wouldn't trigger the residential adjacency requirement. They could have a 5-foot side setback from either side. In addition to that, or to push the amount of units that are permitted, the UDC does permit a duplex to have an ADU as an additional unit. However, it would still have to comply with parking, with landscaping, and it is, just to make it clear as well, it is allowed to run on its own meter, but it would, at most, this property would be allowed to, under residential parameters, it would only be able to have a duplex and an ADU. Right, to continue considering it as a residential development that only would trigger the base setback requirements, which are 5 feet from either side, rather than the 15 feet. Because anything that exceeds 3 units on a property is considered multifamily, and therefore the residential adjacency requirement is triggered.
So, question, Martin, if this gets approved, would they have to then go to the Board of Adjustment to get a variance for the setbacks if they want to continue with the current plans that they have?
Well, I would defer that to,
I think.
say yes.
I think what you're saying is that with the existing zoning, they have the ability to put a duplex and additional unit to the rear and still be considered residential by right without a need to do rezoning. With this rezoning, they'd like to have 4 units. However, there is concern, when it's 4 units, it's considered commercial. So the setbacks, the distances between the side yard and the unit, it has to be wider. And so the concern is, the thought is that you may not be able to do the 4 units in compliance with those regulations. Right now, without any zoning, you can do the duplex plus the rear ADU. Now, I don't know if that's what the developer wants to do. They want to do 4 units. So it's just understanding. I don't know if you considered the duplex with the ADU.
And again, I've seen those developments, but we're open to redesigning this in a way that it fits what staff is gonna ultimately allow. In other words, like I said, we're not trying to make these big units or 2-bedroom units. It's just maybe 4 small efficiency units for a single person or a couple. We've seen a more and more of a demand for that from a developer standpoint. So those small efficiency units, they'll only require 1 parking space. So in reality, we only need 4 parking spaces, which could fit in the front. Now, this proposal is very preliminary, because, again, I understand that the planning department is still going to put some other requirements on there, and we're willing to go back to the drawing board and make it work. All we want for right now, I think this is preliminary. I think we're going ahead of what needs to get done. All I'm asking is for the right to do so. Right now, by right, we can do 3. They just, 3 and 2 bedrooms. So I'm asking for 4 1-bedrooms. The density, the size, we can always redraw it and do it. And we're willing to fully comply with the staff's guidelines and the ordinances. And I think it could be done. We just asked that the city commission, respects what the advisory board ruled on, and also that allows us to draw this in a way that we can comply fully. Thank you.
No, I think this is a beautiful development, and I will tell you that when it makes a difference in a neighborhood, when you have a dilapidated home with tall grass, it's an eyesore. It also changes the dynamics within the environment. And so when you are able to have nice cut grass, you have great landscaping, a beautiful home that's renovated, it changes the atmosphere. And not only that, it inspires the neighbor to say, hey, that looks pretty nice. I better get to trimming too. You set a standard that others may want to follow too. And so that is the importance of this. We studied this in my undergraduate in criminal justice, and it was the broken windows theory. And they talked a lot about the importance of always enhancing communities to ensure that they treat it as such. The way that it is, it'll be treated as such. And so if it's beautiful, hey, you know what? It's so clean here. I don't want to throw this piece of trash. If there's trash everywhere, it's okay. Another piece of trash won't hurt the area. And so I do see that this is very beautiful. At the same time, there are standards that need to be followed, and I want to be in support of the staff, and also because whatever every case is different, but the standard that we set also opens a door for future projects. So I just want to make sure that we're fair across the board to you and to staff and to future cases that may come to us. Like I said, I think this is a beautiful. I know Commissioner Villarreal was making comments that this looks a lot like Austin downtown, and so it reminded him a lot about that area. And so I would like a little piece of Austin too in District 1. So I think with that being said, I really value you. I know it takes a lot to come up here and do all of this, but I value your willingness to continue to work with the city, and I think that says a lot. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner. That's what we're trying to do.
I do want to get Martine's thoughts on the spot zoning issue, right? You know, do we have history of doing that in the city? And if so, how has that worked out?
I mean, history is definitely there. It's something that staff tried to eliminate with the adoption of the UDC. We took advantage of that, of the change in text and the change in the map to address those situations. Again, yes, the history is there. Has it occurred before? Yes, we try and stay away from it. But in the end, you guys have the decision.
Yeah, I just like to get your perspective on that, right? I think that if we're going to go down that path, potentially of doing
Right.
spot zoning, what impact does that have on the neighborhood and future development, right? It's
Well, I mean, impact wise, because the density is going to increase, there's going to be more vehicles. And then perhaps a neighbor is going to say, well, if they have that rezoning granted to them, well, why can't I? And then it's a trickle effect. And then slowly, it's similar to the situation with, or I'll use as an analogy, car lots on International. They start on the end cap of residential single-family blocks, and they slowly start trickling down into the neighborhood. Just using as an example, Fillmore Street. We, a couple of years ago, had many cases along that street where slowly one person rezoned or got a specific use permit for a used car lot, and then the neighbor wanted a used car lot, and eventually half of the block became used car lots. So that could very well be a scenario, or I mean, people just stay the way they are because the advantage, I guess, here is that everything's already filled in. Unless there's more homes in this condition where someone wants to renovate and do something new, then perhaps it could occur.
And just to clarify, Mayor, and Commission, I wouldn't say, we have a history of spot zoning. I would say we have a before UDC and an after UDC. And so we're currently in the aftermath of the adoption of the UDC. And so with that said, this is not consistent with the future land use plan, right? Which is why the staff has such heartache with it. But more importantly, if you were to, let's assume you were to approve the rezoning, a lot of what I was trying to get at is there would have to be some variances that they would have to apply for if they go with the plan that they submitted, which I understand is preliminary. But then they would have to apply for those variances. And the unfortunate thing is it would be self-imposed hardship, not one that would be a qualified variance under the statute. And so, that is something to consider as well, is can they put the plan that they want into the zoning. And there's, like you all had discussed already, there's currently regulations that would not allow the plan as it's been presented.
Address that real quick. So with all due respect to council, and let me answer the spot zoning issue. Like Martin said, this is a well-established neighborhood. So a likelihood of other homes becoming this, it's very unlikely that it will happen. The problem is that this particular home is the only one that is in this condition on that street. If you look at the map where the property is at, it's very close to an R3, an almost commercial zone, and it's very close to the expressway as well. So I want you to take that into consideration. And, you know, if we do have to apply for a variance, that is a statutory right. And I would just ask this board to not deny us that right now. I'd be willing to go before that board if it's another hurdle that we have to jump through, and then go through that board, because the variance board is created by statute. So I just think that if that is something that in the future we have to go through, we will. And to afford us that opportunity, not to shut it down at this level. Right now, just because you approve it doesn't mean that I'm gonna go and do a fourplex. I understand it's an uphill battle for this. So I'm willing to do it, because in the end, I believe in what we're doing. I believe in converting these properties into income producing properties and bringing something that is gonna add value and add the tax base to Brownsville. And especially when you see a property in this condition, you know, to allow it to be this way, you know, I just think it's unfathomable. You know, you see the pictures. I wish the public could see the pictures, but, you know, I can't introduce this into the public hearing agenda. So I really want this commission to please take notice of this, and that there's, you know, by testimony of the neighbors, there's rats in there, there's snakes, there's raccoons all over the place. So please take notice of that.
Is there anyone else that wishes to address the commission on this item?
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I think that the developer had many great points, and I liked his willingness to work with staff. And I know that it's important for us to ensure that we follow the regulations in place. I don't know if there's an area opportunity where we can table this to where the developer can work with P&Z to ensure that they can restructure the design to meet the criteria. Is that a possibility? I don't know, is that allowed, or?
You're saying you want to remand back to planning and zoning?
Maybe they should talk to staff to see how much, what you can put in on the lot and consider all the site plan requirements to see what can be.
I think she's asking for time for Mr. Menchaca to meet with staff and try to get on the same
Oh,
page.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean like planning and zoning committee, I meant like Martin and
I
Omar.
mean, we've done that in other zoning cases where you go back to staff and you understand, okay, what's the requirement? How can I fit the parking so that you're in a situation where you're not complying? Is that
Because I
what
don't,
we're saying?
if we deny it today, it's gonna, right.
Right. So I would
Any other
recommend-
comments? What do you commissioners?
That's your motion.
What do you commissioners? Any comments?
About yours is like, if, oh, no, I'll keep it to myself. Okay.
Commissioner Villarreal?
Because there's a motion on the floor anyway.
She hasn't made it a motion. She was just commenting.
Oh.
He hasn't made a motion. I mean,
Okay, so here's my opinion. At first, I thought you were just doing a duplex, and that's why I was more favorable to it, but you're doing a fourplex. And there's no other such density in that area. I'm familiar with that neighborhood because it's 2 blocks away from Victoria Gardens. And while, even if the neighbors are not opposed, you're setting precedent so that by allowing this to happen now, then, you know, someone else buys a house and knocks it down and says, well, I want to do the same thing too. Usually for a fourplex, you would need a lot more land. And so you're trying to basically do a fourplex and a duplex lot, right? And that's where I'm having the issue. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, yes, as mentioned, the size of the lot is, it poses a physical limitation. But to Commissioner Macias's point, we can go ahead and sit down to provide an opportunity to the developer to come up with ideas to tailor the development to the regulations that are existing and see where we can move forward from there. Or maybe eventually come up with the compromise of saying, well, you know what, we'll move forward with the duplex and the ADU. I mean, there's room for discussion.
No, I really appreciate your advocacy, Commissioner Galansky, and your comments.
I'm of the opinion that this property was abandoned and was a nuisance in this area for so many years that I just want to close the door immediately. That's why I think I'm open to tabling it so they can have a conversation with you. And I know they've already also invested some money into this. So if we could just have a conversation and see if we can meet somewhere. If that's not the case, then we'll move forward. But I'll go ahead and make that motion. Then I'll move to table.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to table. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
And just to confirm, because this has been done previously, are we going to set a date for the tabling of the item?
I know y'all took a vote, but should we set it for September 2nd?
September 2nd.
Martin, and if you could, I know it's not ordinary, but if we tabled it for a reason, could you guys go out there?
Sure.
Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public hearing, item number 4 is a public hearing and action on ordinance number 2025-1778, accepting and approving the Madera Espiritu Santo Public Improvement District PID number 1 Operations and Maintenance Service and Assessment Plan, including the improvement area number 1 assessment role, making a finding of a special benefit to property within the improvement area number 1 of the Madera Espiritu Santo PID number 1, levying the special assessments against such property and establishing a lien on such property, providing for the method of assessment and the payment of the assessment levied against improvement area number 1 assessed property, providing the penalties and interest on delinquent assessments in accordance with Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code as amended.
So, Mayor and City Commission, for some reason, every time I present, it seems like it's a long agenda item. But that's just the legalese that the statute requires. Next slide. Oh, thank you. No, that one slide, thank you. Just generally an O&M PID. O&M stands for operation and maintenance. This particular PID will fund the maintenance and operation of the public improvements that are going into the Madera project. And so tonight we have the public hearing to be able to assess those assessments and levy those assessments that will be collected from the property owners. Property owners in this particular district, they are on notice when they purchase the property, so they are the ones that end up paying for the public improvements rather than the rest of the city. So this is just another, for the public, this is just another avenue of how to finance a master development. Next slide. This particular map shows the current boundary of the Madera PID. And next slide. And then this one is what we are actually levying tonight, improvement area number 1. This is the actual part that has been pretty much built out for the most part as far as the public infrastructure is concerned. Next slide. This is a breakdown of the supplemental services that will be collected in the first assessment year. It is subject to be updated annually. And so you will receive another SAP update in the next fiscal year. Next slide. And so just as a reminder, the City Commission did accept a petition on May 20th, 2025 for what I'm calling the Madera 2.0 development project. On June 17th, it was officially created. On July 15th, you all approved the preliminary SAP, which is a service and assessment plan, and called the public hearing for tonight. And then tonight, August 5th, is the first public hearing and only public hearing that's required by state law for us to be able to levy and assess the assessments. On August 19th, you will do a final and second reading for the adoption of the ordinance. Next slide. And if there's no questions, just a reminder, we do have a public hearing.
All right, any questions or comments from the commission? All right, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Mayor, I move to close public hearing.
All right,
Second.
we have a motion and a second to close public hearing. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Next item is a public hearing number 5, public hearing and action on ordinance number 2025-1582B, supplementing and amending ordinance number 2013-1582, relating to the issuance of the City of Brownsville, Texas, utility system commercial paper notes, Series A, authorizing the extension and renewal of Series A program, and the substitution of the credit facility related thereto, resolving other matters and incentive and related to the replacement of the credit facility, including the approval, execution, and delivery of their reimbursement program, bank fee letter, and approving an offer memorandum in connection therewith, resolving other matters related thereto, and providing an effective date.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Commissioners. So my name is Mike Perez. I'm the Chief Financial Officer for the Brownsville Public Utilities Board. Here with us tonight, we do have the rest of the executive team, led by Marilyn Gilbert, General Manager and Chief Executive Officer. We got Mark Dombrowski, our Assistant General Manager and Chief Operating Officer. Got Constanza Minor, Chief Administrative Officer, and Paul Gonzalez, our General Counsel and Chief Legal Officer. With us here today also, we have Noe Hinojosa, our Financial Advisor with Estrada Hinojosa. And participating virtually, we do have James Hernandez, our Bond Counsel with Greenberg Tarek, all available to answer any questions. So getting back to this item, the City Commission initially authorized a $100 million commercial paper program for BPUB in 2013 by ordinance 2013-1582. This ordinance is the base ordinance for the Series A commercial paper program, and it has been amended and supplemented several times. So this new CP ordinance being presented tonight will also be a supplemental ordinance. It will further supplement and amend ordinance to authorize a new letter of credit bank, that being Bank of America, extend the maturity date of the Series A program, and authorize publication of a new updated offering memorandum for use by the CP dealer, being JP Morgan, to market commercial paper notes to prospective investors. Essentially, this ordinance authorizes extending and renewing the Series A program and substituting the credit facility. The ordinance will also resolve other matters incidental and related to replacing the credit facility, including the approval, execution, and delivery of the reimbursement agreement, bank fee letter, and approving an offering memorandum. So the BPUB board did approve a resolution at its July 7th board meeting, requesting the city to authorize and provide for the replacement of the existing credit facility related to the commercial paper notes. So at this time, I'll turn it over to Noe and James to elaborate.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. Noe Hinojosa, for the record, financial advisor to PUB and the city, as a matter of fact. It's been a while since I come before you, so I've had a little gray hair now since. But anyways, welcome. It's good to be back. Basically, what's in front of you, this commercial paper program works very similar to a credit card. And you're given the authority to PUB if you approve this matter, to use that credit card for improvements that have been used, as an example, for lift stations, electric improvements, so on and so forth. You were there, Ms. Galansky, at PUB board, so you're familiar with this process. But basically, at some point or another, the commercial paper is not there indefinitely, and we have reached a maturity here in the next couple of months. So we're coming way in advance to basically ask you, like, will you renew this commercial paper program and allow the PUB to continue to work as we've done in the past. There is a $30 million balance, so we're going to try to refund, to issue new bonds, pay off that balance, combined with, and that's on your next item on the agenda, combined with some existing bonds that are currently yielding or you paying higher interest rates than what the market can provide for you. So we'll do that for savings. So right now, the intent is to allow PUB to have an extension of the commercial paper program. And I think Mike has gone through all the details, and happy to entertain any questions on this item.
All right, any questions or comments from the commission? So this is a public hearing. If there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Move to close.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to close. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
All
Second.
right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
The next item is item number 6, is a public hearing and action on ordinance number 2025-1780, authorizing the issuance of the City of Brownsville, Texas Utility System Revenue Refunding Bonds, Series 2025, in a principal amount not to exceed $80 million, providing for the payment of the principal of and interest on the bonds by lien on and pledge of the net revenues of the system, providing the terms and conditions of such bonds, and resolving other matters and incidents and relating to the issuance, payment, security, sale, and delivery of such bonds, including the approval and the distribution of an official statement, authorizing the execution of a pay an agent, the registrar agreement, a purchase contract, and an escrow agreement, and/or a deposit letter, complying with the requirements of the depository trust company, delegating the authority to the city manager and certain members of the city or the BPUB staff to execute certain documents relating to the sale of the bonds, enacting other provisions, incidents, and related to the subject and purpose of this ordinance, and providing for an effective date.
So basically, what's before you again is what I just alluded earlier, to refinance a portion of the debt portfolio of the PUB. On this page, you'll see at the bottom, the PUB has about $284 million outstanding, of which $30 million in this commercial paper line. We're going to take that out, 30 million, and then we're looking at about a portion of what's in that quadrant in orange. It's a UT orange, so don't blame me for the selection, but basically, we're looking at those bonds carrying rates ranging between 3% and 5%, as you can see on the second column from right to left, and hopefully get you something lower. If you go over to page, at this page, refunding illustration, you'll see that the rate here that we're looking at is probably at 3.25% on bonds that are currently paying about 5%. So basically for savings, about $31 million. The ordinance prepared for your benefit shows $80 million in case the market improves dramatically between the time that you're authorizing us to proceed and the time we price. We're looking at pricing sometime in the third week of September. So if interest rates do drop, we have the ability to bring in other bonds in the debt portfolio to include them into the refinancing and getting closer to maybe 60 or 75 or $80 million for that matter. But we'll never exceed the $80 million. Then at the end, that's what I call the ugly spreadsheet. The PUB is performing really well, thanks to the fact that you've been supporting PUB on the rates. And basically that's where we are. And then again, the timetable here. So I'll stop here and entertain questions you may have.
All right, any questions or comments from the commission?
No, just when it's a bond like this, and sorry to ask this question, but it goes through the city to BPUB? because
Excellent
of law.
Excellent question. You have basically by city charter, the city commission does three things for PUB. One is authorizing any time that they borrow money. A bond is borrowing money. So they cannot proceed on their own. They have to come before you and get their consent from you to issue this debt. This debt will be in the city of Brownsville's name, not necessarily PUB's name. So you have to consent to that. The second action that you do for them is adjust rates when necessary based on the recommendation, and third, appoint board members. So this is a step that is needed in order for us to access the capital markets.
Thank you. And then,
Good question, by the way.
thank you. And then a question to Will. So I know, and I don't know where this law is in. I don't know if it's city charter or if it's like a state thing. So I know that when bonds are passed, 1% of that goes to the Brownsville Beautification Committee. I know when we do it as City of Brownsville, but since this is being through the city, does that go onto here or it does not apply?
It's a separate and complete from that, what you're referring to for the 1%, it's separate and apart from this. It's different. It's based on a code of ordinance that creates the Brownsville Beautification Committee, and it's only specific to, I believe it's CIP projects or and city bonds only. So it doesn't, we're not in.
I suspect there are provisions, and James Hernandez Bond Counsel can probably attest to this, but there are provisions in revenue bonds for the benefit of PUB that restricts you to do any bonds for other than improvements of the system.
Correct.
That's
And then just my last question. First off, thank you so much for being here and for waiting. I see the BPUB team here, so I'm so sorry. It's been a long meeting, but I appreciate your efforts into staying here as long. And I want to thank everybody for your commitment. I feel that in these last 2 years, we've made great strides to ensure that we have that open communication. And we just really appreciate that. Honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you and all your employees for the commitment. I see their trucks left and right, especially, and I think it's all in the city, but I drive a lot around District 2. And I see those trucks up high, whether it's cold, whether it's hot and raining, all conditions, all day, 24/7. The community, the customer service has really improved. I know I utilize the portal a lot when reporting things. It's very friendly. And I get those updates right ahead. So when I put in a complaint or a report, they send out a text right ahead and say, hey, we're working on your issue. And then I get a phone call from them. And that's something that we hadn't had in the past. And so it makes me feel so good to know, and bad at the same time, knowing that there's people answering calls 24/7. But I really am appreciative of the hard work and collaboration because we serve the same people. And we're so fortunate to have the BPUB. And I'll tell you why. We went to Washington, D.C. last year for RGV Days. And one of the biggest conversations and issues that we discussed were water. There are water issues across the RGV. And I was really flabbergasted to hear that every city talked about how they wanted to strive and move forward to being like BPUB. And so I've lived here my whole life, so all I know is BPUB. But to be able to see other cities compare and say, hey, we want to be more like you, I had no idea that that was that resonate or that tone within the RGV. And so it opened my eyes to see that we are leading and that we are moving forward, and you are the leaders as BPUB when it comes down to water. So thank you for that. My last question here would be, how would this bond help the people?
Well,
or help BPUB through the people?
For starters, if you go back to the charter, I think when PUB was first created, it was so you could provide sustainable and reliable electric, water, and sewer services. And I think what this tool does, is one of the many toolboxes that PUB has, is the ability to confront capital improvement needs that otherwise you have to go out and issue bonds for. So the CP puts them in a very nimble position that if a line breaks or the system breaks, they can move just as quickly as you mentioned earlier, whether it's hot or raining or freezing, to access the capital and make those improvements as needed. So that's one way of helping it. The other way is basically, it's very simple. You have debt that is outstanding, you pay a high rate, you're going to reduce rates and hopefully get a benefit of about $1.9 million to 2,300,000 thereabouts in savings.
Sir, you should have just said reduce rates. Let's go. I'm in.
Well, I have to, unfortunately, have the obligation to tell you, to walk you through it. I'll say this to you too. I can't thank your staff enough too at the city side. Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Gordon, Mr. Muse, actually, both of them met with us and we walked through the process. I think I told the mayor the other day, are there any questions coming up? He said, no, I think we're fine. Well, I've been privileged to be your advisor for well over my entire professional career, almost 37 years, to this city where I was born at. And, never seen this process be so swift, so transparent, so clear. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, all of you, for being in the position that you're in. and
Pleasure.
supporting
Thank you.
PUB.
Awesome. This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward.
Can I make a motion? Move to close second. Closed it.
Yeah, okay. We have a motion to close in a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Have a good night.
Items for individual consideration. Item number 1 is the consideration and action on second reading on ordinance number 235-2025-008 to rezone from the residential single-family R1 to the residential suburban R2 to allow a duplex development for Lot 9, Block 5 of Samano partition of the Wymore Tract, Cameron County, Texas, located at Dennett Road, Brownsville, Texas, 78526, as shown in Exhibit A, District 3.
Good evening once again. So I'm just gonna go through this item very quickly. You probably recall it. We have brought it to you guys, in previous meetings. So this request is to rezone from, residential single family to residential suburban to accommodate a duplex development. The property is fronting, Dennett Road. And, this item was presented at Planning and Zoning Commission back in May. And, eventually it came to City Commission on, May 20th. At that time, there was an action to table due to some concerns that were brought up by, the residents from Tradition Estates. And so as, proactive action, the department and, both the planning department and the engineering and public works department, had an outreach event with the community to, discuss their concerns. The item was once again presented at City Commission on July 1st, where, the commission decided to request, a traffic impact, study for the development. And so the engineer who's working on the subdivision submitted their findings, and based on, this, study that was done, there weren't enough trips generated to merit the need of a traffic impact analysis. We do have, I believe here, the engineer who works on the plat to further expand. And, just, again, the 200-foot buffer map, there were 33 mailouts and 0 written opposition. Well, up until the outreach with, the community members. This is the zoning map. There were, as you can see, what predominates is residential single family, residential suburban to the south, across the Resaca. And, this is the polygon representing another aerial view of the property. And so, P and Z did recommend the approval to rezone from, at that time, when it was presented, to rezone from residential single family to residential suburban. Any questions?
Any questions or comments from the commission? This is a public hearing, so if there's anyone here that wishes to address the commission on this item, please step forward. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to close.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion on this item. Move to approve. All right, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Martin, can I ask a question? So going to the map, where is it that it floods right now? Like off of the Tradition, where's Tradition Estates relative to the yellow?
So the yellow polygon is the property in question right now. Tradition Estates is directly to the north, a little bit towards the east. So across the street from Dennett to the right.
Okay, and so is this area flood zone or not?
What's that?
Is the yellow square or shape in the flood zone or not? No? Oh.
No, ma'am,
like-
it's not.
I believe they mentioned the water.
Yes,
drains to Resaca.
zoom out, or can you go to the, okay, you see that map shows it, Tradition Estates is northeast of that.
Uh-huh.
And that drains to a totally different area. This area drains towards the south.
And remind me how many lots or how many duplexes is there gonna, like 60, was it?
Yes, so originally they were proposing 33 lots, a total of 66 units. So 33 duplex, 66 units in total. However, they redesigned to accommodate on-site detention to further alleviate or to further prevent the risk of flooding. So they eliminated one lot, so it went from 33 to 32. So the final number for the proposed development is 32 duplex lots, total of 64 units.
Dennett is on the schedule to maybe get fixed after, was it 2030? Was that what we were told?
It's not currently on our work plan. We'll be presenting August 19th for an update to our future work plan.
We do have a motion on the table with no second currently. Were you guys able to meet with Commissioner De Leon on this item? 'Cause I know he was the one, this is his district.
Well, we had previously met with him. Yes, before the.
Didn't you meet with the community and had a community meeting?
Right.
Can you, because we have a new commissioner, can we
Yeah.
please describe what we had? And we had a community meeting at the event center. Please go over that.
Sure. So on June 5th, resulting from the meeting from May 20th, both the planning department and the engineering and public works department, we met at the transportation office here in downtown at B Metro with the community. There we spoke about the concerns that they had, primarily being the issue with the flooding. We explained to them, well, primarily engineering and public works explained to them that these two subdivisions, they're in two completely independent watersheds. One does not affect the other. One drains to the north, one drains to the south. And to address their concerns, the city is currently doing an improvement. I don't know the current status of, but there was an additional watershed that was being created so that more water could drain towards the north into the drainage.
Just to explain on that, we installed some storm sewer line that would force water towards the north to a ditch on the north side of Tradition Estates. Currently, we're pending just the connection. We had issues with the gas company relocating the gas line, which they've done already. All we're doing right now is pending that connection, and it'll finally be operational after that connection is done, which will send water to the north, away from anywhere affecting this new development.
When is that connection going to be made?
It's scheduled for this week, actually.
That's great.
Yes, this week, yes.
I'm all for development, but my concern is that we're increasing density, and as it is, Dennett Road cannot sustain the amount of traffic that it has, and unless we have plans to widen the street,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, it will be a disservice not only to the existing homes, but to these new duplexes that would.
Yes, the
create.
engineer or the developer paid for a traffic study and it determined that it did not require any other, it didn't meet the thresholds for traffic impact analysis. It only, I think the maximum generation of trips was like 62 on a peak afternoon, I believe. And the threshold, you have to have at least 100 trip generations to warrant a traffic impact analysis. So it's not generating enough trips to increase, traffic volume on Dinette Road. To merit improvements on Dinette Road, yes.
Oh, okay. So then, because residents there have told us that they would like to have a traffic light or a turn lane out to Paredes and a traffic light there because of sometimes like morning.
Yes,
the
there
traffic-
actually, we actually have an HHIP project, which will provide a signal at Dinette and Paredes.
Okay, but so what's the timeline?
I think it's, yeah, sometime early, first quarter of 26.
And how many people showed up at this meeting in July or the one at the event center?
We had two, I believe, three, I'm sorry, three people.
We'll
Few
get you an
showed up,
update.
but the residents, many of them were emailed because we've had drainage concerns before and held meetings. So, the community was notified, and even, I think one person was online.
Yes.
Also, so we afforded for online. And Commissioner Delano, we did state that we would be having this meeting and he was aware of that.
I'm gonna second Commissioner Villarreal's motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Ayes have it, motion carries.
Yes. Item number 2 is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-081 to approve of the allocation of the City of Brownsville's Community Development Block Grant CDBG Home Investment Partnership Program Home and Emergency Solutions Grant ESG, subject to the appropriation by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development HUD for the 2025-2026 one-year action plan.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commissioners. My name is Efrain Trujillo, Grants and Community Development Director. Today, before you, we're going to be presenting the annual action plan for the 25-26 year. As you may know, the CDBG program, along with other HUD programs, including Home and Emergency Solutions Grant, we get awarded an allocation every year. And most of these funding are used to help the community in different ways. This year concludes the 5th year out of the 5-year consolidated plan. So starting next year, we'll be working in a consolidated plan, which is pretty much strategies and what the needs of our community are. For this upcoming fiscal year, we do have a little bit over $2.5 million in CDBG, a little bit close to $900,000 for the home investment program, and close to $230,000 for the emergency solutions grant. Some of the project highlights that we have for the different grants. For our home program, we have developed new construction of homes to first-time home buyers. We also have a first-time home buyer program that we work with different nonprofits. We also have a CDBG social services, just highly in tip of Texas, which is basically a parenting class for our different new parents. Through our ESG program, we do have our partnership with the Good Neighbor Settlement House to help our homeless population and more vulnerable population. And also we do have different capital projects. So highlighting some of the Gonzalez Park improvement projects that we have done there as part of the Choice Neighborhood planning grant that we got. So part of our citizen participation plan, we do go out to our community and hear their voices on what are their priorities. In this cycle that we started in October, we have the top 10 listed as their priorities. Based on their priorities, that's how we try to designate some of the funding and propose for our annual action plan. In addition to that, we did conduct 2 public hearings at the 2 different public libraries in the Southmost and the main library, July 9 and July 16. We only received 1 public comment, which is basically the public comment is to continue to look for a new rec center. So striving for that. So I know the city has different initiatives to target the new rec center.
I would add that flood and drainage improvements and then street improvements, we've changed our strategy on how we fund those projects. Prior to 2019, the city did not have a capital improvement program. Now it's very robust. And so what we've tried to do is go back to the mission of other types of services or recreation or playground or other services and fund the drainage projects and street projects with the CIP and the bond program. So just the change in so maybe some of the reasons why you may see those priorities is because we have a lot of deferred maintenance, right, that we're now funding in different ways.
Yes, so we do have different mechanisms to try to address all the concerns that our citizens have. So this cycle, we did receive 23 applications, and the application total was a little bit close to $5.5 million, and we typically, our allocation is 3.8. So we pretty much funded most of the requests. I think the only request we didn't fund would be a capital project, and those are typically just assessed to our internal departments.
I would also say that this is subject to appropriations. I know that from a federal level, there has been some money that has been rescinded. It has not affected CDBG and home. However, we don't know what may come. And so we just want to be very cautious where we're allocating it, but it's still subject to receiving those funds.
Yes, and we'll talk more in details throughout the presentation. So these are some of the projects. Obviously, we do have our 20%, which is basically for staff and salaries. And then we're going to be working with our multimodal department for some bus stop sidewalk improvement. We do have some focusing on the Choice Neighborhood, International Southmost Choice Neighborhood plan, where we're going to try to address some streets, also do some streetscapes and sidewalks, make it more mobile for our community, especially in that area. And we do plan to help and assist and improve different parks, which is the Morningside Park and the Downtown Rec Center. Some of our social services, these are direct services to our community members. We do have Tipo Texas, CASA, Good Neighbor Settlement House, Moody Clinic, Amigos del Valle, and Sunshine Haven, and also CDCB Come Dream, Come Build, proposing the amounts displayed. And then we have our Emerging Solutions Grant. This is more for our homeless population and just operations for our shelters. We do have a portion of it for administration, Good Neighbor, for street outreach, homeless information system. That's just a system that our providers use to allocate who's coming in to receive services and how they could coordinate together. We do have the emergency shelter operations, which is basically operating their shelter, rapid rehousing, help individuals in homeless situations to get some housing. Same thing for Ozanam and shelter for Ozanam as well. And then same thing for Friendship of Women, rapid rehousing and shelter for the amounts displayed there. The home program, this program is more focused for housing. We have the administration portion of it, and we do intend to build 2 new homes in partnership with Brownsville Affordable. Those will eventually be sold to first-time home buyers to close to $400,000 for 2 homes. And then we do have our partnership with CDCB, which is first-time home buyer program, where we help individuals that are purchasing their first home to up to $25,000 for down payment and closing costs. So this is the timeline that we have. Obviously, we did a public hearing, 2 public hearings, public notice. We're also before you for approval. We'll be submitting the action plan. We need to submit it by August 15. Once we receive the approval by Commission, also by HUD, this funding will be available October 1st. This is for the 2025. And talking to Ms. Ramirez's point regarding the appropriation, Obviously, it's a Congress type of led budgeting for the FY '26. We're looking currently for the Senate to have discussions on the proposed from the House, so there's still more conversation to happen. But just looking at FY '25, that should be the funding that we should be able to receive starting October 1st. And entertain any questions you all may have.
I move to accept the allocation as proposed.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Great
much.
job, guys.
Thank you.
Action item number 3 is the consideration and action to acknowledge the Cameron Appraisal District Chief Appraiser's certification of the City of Brownsville 2025 tax roll.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Steven Narcisse Muse, Financial Services Department. The chief appraiser certifies and delivers the appraisal roll to the governing body, and this includes the total appraised and taxable value of property in the taxing unit, the total appraised and taxable value of new improvements, and the total taxable value of property annexed since the previous year. So we're asking that the commission acknowledge the chief appraiser certifications for the City of Brownsville's 2025 tax year.
Questions from the commission?
Move to acknowledge.
All right, we have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 4 is the consideration and action to acknowledge that the county tax assessors collectors certification of the estimated ad valorem tax debt collection rate for the tax year 2025 in the excess debt the debt tax collections for tax year 2024.
So this report certifies our estimated collection rate, and these numbers are used in the calculation of the voter approval tax rate. Our estimated collection rate was 96.1%, and the excess debt collections for tax year 2024 were $2,459,376. And we ask that the commission acknowledge the collector certification of the estimated ad valorem tax debt collection rate for tax year 2025 and the excess debt tax collections for tax year 2024.
Any questions?
Move to acknowledge.
All right, we have
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? Not all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 5 is the consideration and action to acknowledge the interim finance director's calculation of the city's no new revenue and voter approval tax rates for tax year 2025 or fiscal year 2026.
So the city must calculate the no new revenue and voter approval tax rates according to Property Tax Code, Chapter 26, Section 4C. The no new revenue rate enables the public to evaluate the relationship between taxes for the prior year and the current year based on a tax rate that would produce the same amount of taxes if applied to the same properties taxed in both years. The taxing unit's no new revenue rate is calculated generally equal to the last year's taxes divided by the current taxable value of properties that were also on the tax roll last year. This is used for comparison and benchmark for certain notification requirements and to preserve a taxing unit's ability to pay their debt service. The Texas legislature split the voter approval tax rate calculations into two units, the M&O rate, which is subject to the 3.5% cap, and then the debt service rate, which is the rate necessary to pay for our debt service. And these calculations came out to, I think it was on the wrong slide, sorry about that. The no-new revenue rate was 0.580377. The voter approval tax rate was 0.613629, and the debt service rate was 0.247978. And we ask that the commission acknowledge the calculation of the city's no-new revenue rate and the voter approval tax rates for tax year 2025 or fiscal year 2026.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to acknowledge.
Second.
All right, We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 6 is the consideration and action to discuss the possible ad valorem tax rate increase and to authorize a public hearing on August 19, 2025, to discuss the proposed ad valorem tax rate that will exceed the no new revenue tax rate.
So the governing body of a taxing unit other than a school district may not adopt a tax rate that exceeds the lower of the voter approval tax rate or the no new revenue tax rate until the governing body has held a public hearing on the proposed tax rate. And this hearing must have a quorum of the governing body present, take place within the boundaries of the taxing unit, be conducted on a weekday that is not a public holiday, allow taxpayers an opportunity to express their views, and take place in a public building or if a public building isn't available, in a building normally open to the public. So we're asking the commission to authorize this public hearing on the August 19th meeting to discuss the proposed ad valorem tax rate that will exceed the no new revenue tax rate.
Believe this calls for a roll call.
Roll call
Yes,
required.
we're going to administer the roll call, and if the motion can state the August 19, 2025 public hearing announcement.
So I'll move to approve.
Second.
Perfect.
You-
We'll start with the vote. We'll start with Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
Commissioner Macias,
Aye.
Commissioner Villarreal,
Aye.
Mayor Khaled,
Aye.
Commissioner Aguilar-Luansky,
Aye.
Commissioner De Leon, Commissioner Cardenas.
Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next portion of the agenda is board appointments, starting with item number 1 is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-089 to appoint or reappoint members to the Park and the Recreation Advisory Committee. I do want to make a note, since we did communicate the board appointments, there was one application that came in after, which came in today. His name is Rodrigo Quintiero for District 2 for consideration.
Thank you, Myra.
Sean De Palma, Parks and Recreation Director for the beautiful city of Brownsville. We have the one member position open, and that would side to you, Commissioner Martinez.
Thank you, Sean. I'll move to appoint Rodrigo Quintero.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Action item number 2 is consideration and action to approve the resolution number 2025-090, appointing members to the Ethics Advisory Commission. Before you, Mayor and City Commissioners, is the 7 board members that are up for their term, and each member of the City Commission shall appoint a member. I do want to share that we did receive notification of the current members that are seeking a reappointment. Before you, on the dais is the reappointment sheet to assist. But David Amiro wants to be reappointed, Ismael Hinojosa, Hugh Emerson, Dave Willis, and then the chair, Chair Flores wants to be reconsidered as well for this commission.
I move to appoint David Merrill.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I had a quick question. I noticed all the terms expired. Are we not planning to stagger these, or what's the plan on this?
Yes, we're actually working on an item that we're going to bring before you all pretty soon so that we can stagger those that haven't been staggered, like this committee
Gotcha. Thank you.
or commission.
I move to appoint Rigo Flores.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. I already did.
I'm going to hold my appointment for the next.
Were you gonna hold as well?
I know Commissioner
Can I have-
Gustavo de Leon did send me his,
Jesus Martinez.
appointment for Jesus Martinez.
Second.
Do we have a first and second?
This is for Commissioner De Leon. He's
Yes,
requesting to
Commissioner.
appoint,
Jesus.
Jesus Martinez. Yes. So I'm on behalf of, Gustavo De Leon.
Thank you.
We have a motion
And a second.
and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
You know what? I'll go ahead and appoint Hugh Emerson.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I will reappoint David Willis.
All right,
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
And I'm going to hold mine.
Action item number 3, is the consideration and action, resolution number 2025-088 to appoint or reappoint members, to the Brownsville Community Improvement Corporation, DCIC.
Good evening. We have one vacancy, Miss Eva Garcia. She had to resign due to her employment with the city of Brownsville, and by our bylaws, she can no longer serve. And so this is Commissioner Martinez's appointment.
Thank you, Corey. I will move to appoint Michael Rodriguez.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item, action item number 4 is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-086A to appoint or reappoint members to the Board of Adjustment.
All right, so we still have 3 vacancies, alternates pending. And it appears that Mr. Louis Tejeda declined his appointment. So we have those vacancies still pending.
Will, these appointments are also the buildings and standards, correct?
Yes.
Correct. I believe there might be an issue with Mr. Jensen if he was also appointed to a regular term. But he could serve as an alternate on the Building Standards Commission, but essentially, correct.
I move to appoint Dylan Vanderford.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Mayor, would this be for a regular member?
I'll be holding off my appointment. I'll be holding my appointment for next meeting.
I'd like to appoint Ruben Martinez as an alternate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
I'd like to appoint Jesus Flores as an alternate too. I don't know if he's.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
I think that's it. The next item is action item number 5 is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-084A to appoint or reappoint members to the Building and Standards Commission.
And if you want to maintain your same appointees for the Board of Adjustment, you could have one motion that would pass those over to the Building Standards Commission.
Move to make the buildings, where are we? Move to make our
Board of Adjustment.
Board of Adjustment appointees match the building and standards.
Yep. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item is item number 6, the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-085 to appoint or reappoint members to the LGBTQ plus task force.
Mayor, I'd like to request if we can entertain this in the back briefly in an executive session.
Thank you.
Do
Not
we
right
need a
now,
motion on that?
when we go to it.
No, we can,
Item number 2 under executive session can be discussed,
Right.
right, Will?
right. So we don't need a motion to entertain it in executive, and then we can come out and take action if needed.
So the next item is item number 8, the consideration and action on resolution number 2025 I'm sorry, 7. My apologies. Is the consideration and action, resolution number 205-095 to appoint members to the Youth Advisory Board. Sorry.
Next slide, please. So, Mayor and Commission, this is our second year for the Youth Advisory Board. We've updated the bylaws, which you did earlier, which now allows 2 appointments per school, one as a primary member and one as an alternate. We would plan to meet once a month and report periodically to the commission. They will administer the One City Youth Scholarship program. We have received some from all the IDEA schools. We have an incoming one from St. Joseph, which will be added, and we also have them from the South Texas Medical School. So those will be the ones we have tonight. I've reached out to BISD. They should be getting something to me as soon as the school year starts, and we'll bring those back and we'll add as other schools report back. I've reached out to Harmony and Jubilee, and I have, I'm going to reach out to, I understand First Baptist has a school and they're interested as well. So any high school that you hear about that I have inadvertently left out, they are welcome to contact me and we'll bring forth their nominations as well.
What about someone from homeschool?
Yeah,
There.
they can reach out to Mr. Guard as well. They can be part of the Youth Advisory Board.
All I have to say is that on September 20th for the 5K and 100-yard dash, I challenge all commissioners to a 100-yard dash race. Okay, please start training. I'll see you there.
So these are,
That means you too, Alan.
I got to run the race. So these are the nominees that we have received. And if Commissioner Villarreal would like to add the 2 names from St. Joseph, we can add those tonight.
Sure. I'd like to move to approve the Youth Advisory Board member nominees with the addition of St. Joseph Academy, Sarah Pirtle, and alternate Angela Garcia Cavazos.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Now moving on to action item number 8, is the consideration and action on resolution number 2025-093 to appoint members to the City of Brownsville Public Utilities Board Subcommittee.
I move to appoint Commissioner Villarreal. Sorry,
Second.
I'm jumping.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Congratulations.
The executive session, may we enter into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you, guys.
Item number 2, is a closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.071 related to project release. Item number 3, is a closed session pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.071 related to the federal and state equal protection laws. The city commissioners will enter into executive session at 8:56 p.m. Testing, testing. So may we reconvene into open session?
Yes, please.
The time is 9:24. We're back in open session. Is there any possible action from executive session?
No action.
Action.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion, second to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Thank you, everyone.
We're done. The time is 9:24.